Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to the afternoon sessions of the 19th Asian Financial Forum. I trust you had a great lunch and you're about to hear in a couple of moments a great panel on biomedicine. Now, just so you know, this session is conducted in English, but some of the speakers may present in other languages. So if you do need simultaneous interpretation, headsets are available at the counter just outside. And once again, English is on channel 1 and Putonghua is on channel 2. If you have questions for our speakers, please feel free to scan the QR code. It's on the screen now and it's also on the back of your conference badge. And just choose the Q&A tab, type in your question and click submit. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll now commence the Global Business Summit Biomedicine 2026 Trends, Challenges and Opportunities. And I would like to invite our moderator, Mr. Peter Yan, Director General, Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises, to the stage, as well as all our panelists. Can you please give them all a very warm welcome? And it's over to Peter.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you have a very good lunch. And this is the first panel discussion after the lunch on this very important Global Business Summit afternoon. Yeah. Today we are really privileged with elitist panelists here today, and on a very interesting topic of Biomedicine 2026, Trends, Challenges, and Opportunities. Before we go into introducing our elite panelists, let me introduce myself first. I'm Peter Yan, the Director General of the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises in Hong Kong. Yeah. Our goal is really to get very important strategic enterprises to help diversify Hong Kong's economy, to build the ecosystem to help facilitate that diversification and make Hong Kong much stronger than just an international finance center. Of course, that is also very important, an area that we need to leverage on, and hence with the Global Business Summit together with Asian Financial Forum. Now, Hong Kong, as an international health and medical center, is actually first announced by the chief executive in his policy address in 2023. It is all along Hong Kong has been well recognized as a healthcare service excellence hub. We have over 90% of Hong Kong residents covered by our public hospital systems under hospital authority. The government also, covers over 90% of of the medical expenses, through our subsidies. We also enjoy really over the years many successful physicians leading, in the world, and we have also strong academic and research talents, and our two medical schools are among the global top 25 institutes. So to excel that, based on that, to excel further, the Secretary for Health actually has a very thorough game plan and also announced in the subsequent Chief Executive's address. The Secretary of Health, Professor Low, is establishing our position as the global bridge for medical innovation through regulatory reforms and further integration with the Greater Bay Area in different initiatives like the Drugs and Medical Devices Connect, setting up the Greater Bay Area International Clinical Trial Institute, the Real World Study Application Center, etc., etc. And at the core is actually the 1+ mechanism that he's promoting really hard, which is essentially something to shorten the drugs registration process in Hong Kong by a single approval plus, real-world data. And it's going to be recognized by the 36 recognized authorities worldwide. Now, to overseas, this is overseas enterprises. This is a green channel to GBA and subsequently China market. To mainland companies, definitely leveraging on Hong Kong to go global. So under the one country, two system, we do have this advantage to have our own independent operation as well as leveraging on the major mainland market. So today, along this line, we hope in the sharing of our elite panelists, they can also bring their insight of the trends, opportunity, and challenges in the context of how actually Hong Kong can also play an important role in that. So please join me in giving a big hand to our panelists first before I start introducing them. Now let me introduce, starting from this side, my left-hand side, Dr. Paul Burton, SVP and Chief Medical Officer at Amgen. A surgeon by training, Paul brings over 2 decades of global experience in the pharmaceutical industry, spanning all stages of drug development across multiple therapeutic areas. A very warm welcome to Hong Kong. Next to him is Mr. Dai from Hengrui, the Vice Chairman of Jiangsu Hengrui Pharmaceuticals. Mr. Tai is a man of many talents. He studied law, economics, management, and pharmacy. And has started his career in Hengrui since 2000. So this is his 26 years with Hengrui. And during his tenure, he oversaw many key functions, including legal affairs, and lead the company's foreign investment too. Thank you for joining us. And then we have Mark, the Executive Vice President of Merck Group. He's also the President of Merck China. Mark is again a veteran in the industry and has over 2.5 decades in senior commercial and financial positions across the globe. He has worked in the mainland for many years, and you know what? He speaks Putonghua. He speaks Chinese. You will probably introduce yourself further in Putonghua with a few lines, to cheer us up. Of course, Merck is also, very importantly, our Oasis Strategic Enterprises. So again, you're welcome, Mark. Dr. Ma Jian, co-founder and CEO of Extopi. Dr. Ma is actually the first setup, to be listed in, that's already listed in Hong Kong Chapter 18C. Ma oversees, business operations as well as research and product development. And prior to founding Extopi in 2014, he has been an academic serving and researching in various leading institutions, including MIT, reckoned in Japan, and our own Chinese University of Hong Kong. Welcome, Dr. Ma. And next to him, we have Dr. Varun Sethi, the CEO of Clinigen, with over 22 years of experience across pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and diagnosis, and has a deep understanding of the healthcare landscape in Asia Pacific, and he's going to share some of his insight, on the trends. We have a very interesting discussion just now. And welcome to Hong Kong, Dr. Sethi. And last but not least, we have a lady, chairperson of the board of Sino Biopharmaceutical Limited, Ms. Teresa Chair. She's also the vice chairwoman of CP Pharmaceutical Group. And the group is listed in Hong Kong since 2000, and Teresa was included, actually a very spectacular background, included in the list of 100 outstanding businesswomen in China by Forbes from 2018 to 2025, and selected as one of the Bloomberg 50s for 2024 by Bloomberg Businessweek. Thank you. Yeah, welcome all to Hong Kong. Now, okay, let me start with very, broad questions on the predictions of 2026. Now, I'm sure, with all your experience, our audience would very much like to see whether 2026 is really going to be an interesting year for biomedicine. So, should I start with the reverse order with, Teresa first then?
Yeah, thank you so much. That was unexpected. Yeah, so I think in 2026, there will continue to be like a boom of innovation in China. And then I think China will become the world global innovation engine. And I think by 2026, more than 2/3 of new drug discovered globally, both in small molecules and biologics, will come from China. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's really, succinct.
Thank you, Peter. And again, as Teresa said, reversing the order has taken us by surprise, but nonetheless, we'll go with that. So listen, there's going to be a couple of trends in our viewpoint. And let's start off with oncology. I mean, everybody talks about oncology being, a key focus area from a therapeutic standpoint. But what we believe is going to happen in 26 is instead of having broad brushstroke indications coming out, it's going to become very specific, almost like a targeted laser attack that will be small subpopulation of products that we would believe come through the pipeline. As Teresa said, building on the innovation. I think that's going to be critical because it will create very specialized treatment modalities. So that's going to be a continued trend that we believe will happen in 2026. More importantly, I think it's going to be building on expertise in the chemistry, the manufacturing, and the control systems that companies will put in place, which will allow for more specialized therapies such as CAR T that you might have heard of, or gene and cell therapy-based modalities that we believe will continue to enhance the ability to treat patient populations into 2026. And lastly, I think it's going to be the regulatory landscape. And I think it's good to hear, Peter, that the government here is extremely supportive of finding, the two system methodology to actually enable more product innovation to come through this part of the world, particularly in the GBA, and how you can access into mainland China. We're already seeing that with some rare disease products that we actually work on for clients, where we can bring in these products through Hong Kong, registering them over here, and using it as a leaping platform to take products into China. So that will continue its journey through 2026. That's kind of our prediction.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And yes, Dr. Ma?
Thank you very much. I mean, my boldest prediction will be very short. I think 2026 will be the watershed for AI. So artificial intelligence will not just speak like a human, but it will think like a scientist. So we will see more and more robotics lab-drawn the research workflow with agentic AI together to like the super AI, artificial super intelligence will appear very soon. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. We will have definitely go into AI more later. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, from my side, building on what Teresa said, coming back to China, I do think we will see in 2026 that we move from AI assistant discovery to fully AI-designed drugs entering the pipeline. And we see already some very exciting examples in China on that. And what maybe some of the proof points are, on the one hand, I think when you look at the AI platforms, Dr. Ma was alluding to, like more than 60 billion compounds now being around. You have a lot of AI platforms now. And for example, in life science, we work with Edison, which helps to design those. So there's a lot happening. Then, of course, we talked about the pipeline already, 30% coming out of China at the moment. You have huge patient data sets. Then the government just announced the AI Plus program for the next couple of years, which will give a critical push to this. And yeah, we see also when you look at the overall end-to-end treatments, right? You see AI hospital pilots emerging in China now, right? Which go for the treatment of patients and diagnostic AI-driven diagnostic systems. So all in all this together, I'm very confident we might see really AI-designed compound being approved next year in China.
Oh, wow. Mark, I thought you were going to say some Mandarin, yeah? Well, later, yeah.
好，我来讲国语吧。
好。
那个，我认为是当前这个全球的生物医药啊，正在进入由多重技术浪潮叠加驱动的一个前所未有的一个变革期。那么对于中国生物医药企业来讲，2026年应该是一个加速从量变到质变的一个关键的一年。那么在这一年里，我认为会有越来越多的颠覆性的技术的出现和应用，会给整个全球的医药生态，包括投资者带来深刻的影响。
好，谢谢。Paul, yes.
Thank you, Peter. So good afternoon, everybody. Fantastic to be here. Look, I would say a few common themes. I think it's risky to predict, particularly for 2026, because it's quite close. We might almost have to be right. You know, there's a statistic, right, that 93% of molecules that enter clinical development never make it to become a medicine. So my prediction is that in 2026, there will be a seismic shift, which is, to build on the points of the other panelists, that AI-driven and human genetics-led drug discovery and drug development will finally properly enter prime time. Okay, and I say that because I think that it will result in shorter cycle times, right, and a higher probability of success, no longer 93% failure. I think human genetics will increase our target validation confidence. AI certainly, I think, will allow us to pick better molecules, make better medicines, make better molecules. And then finally, precision medicine, I think, will finally come out of the shadow of rare disease and oncology and actually find its way into huge population health issues like cardiovascular and metabolic disease.
Right.
So I think when you bring those two together, AI-driven, human genetic, data-led discovery, as I say, will improve target validation, increase speed, and actually finally reduce that number from 93% failure. And maybe in 2026, you know, we'll get into sub 80%, and then it will only get better from there.
Well, you say it's risky to predict, but then you've made some very, you know, meaningful and bold and specific predictions.
Concrete numbers. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if we move on, you know, it looks like, you know, the common prediction among our elite panelists is really something related to AI too, yeah? That seems to be, you know, the trend or the predictions, you know, in 2026. You know, talking about trend, a couple of weeks ago, I understand that we have the 44th annual JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in San Francisco. And the seems to be quite upbeat. And a lot of industry executives are expressing, you know, optimism, you know, about the year ahead. So maybe let me first ask, you know, Amgen and Merck, yeah, to share. You've made bold statements in on 2026, you know, being the springboard year due to significant amount of clinical data, and a next wave of growth anchored by strategic pillars, including process solutions in life science and rare diseases in healthcare. So maybe let me start with Mark. You want to say something first? Yeah, on this.
You want me to talk about JP Morgan or general about this trends?
Yeah. About the trends which Merck has made some important statements too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all about nowadays also having partnership models, right? I mean, it's really bringing different strengths together. And why is that? Because what we see currently happening is what we call at Merck the bioconvergence. So you see chemical, biology, data, digital coming actually together. And here you need different partners with different strengths to really develop that further, right? And I think that, and talking about JP Morgan, that's something when you optimistically look at that, where people start collaborating more and more, right? I think everyone is on the same page here, no matter which indication. And what was just said, for example, rare diseases is an area we are quite excited about. And if you think about it, especially here for the Asian or the China region, well, given the population you have, then out of a sudden that rare disease might not be that rare anymore in terms of actually having patients. So that's an area where we clearly try what we just outlined with AI together, but also with the healthcare ecosystem evolving here in China to more and more focus on.
Right, right. And Paul, from Amgen's perspective, what are the key opportunities you see, shaping this biomedical landscape in 2026?
Yeah. Well, look, so first of all, I completely agree with Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have this entire panel just talk about AI and the opportunity there. At Amgen, we've invested. We actually brought a guy called Sean Bruick, who was really head of AI at Nike.
Oh.
Sean is now our head of AI at Amgen.
Wow.
So he comes from Nike. He brings that kind of business savvy approach to how do you use huge data sets to think about drug discovery, the use of AI in allowing patients to manage their disease journey, getting them solutions in the clinic. So, I think AI clearly we see that as a huge opportunity. I think we have a global public health organization, and so bringing our medicines, which we're in rare disease, we're in cardiovascular and metabolic disease, we're in oncology, and we're in inflammation, but how we bring those medicines to underserved populations, not only in America, but in all other parts of the world as well. I think that's a huge opportunity for us. Patient demographics, particularly here in Asia, will become more and more important. By 2030, 50% of the population of Asia will be over the age of 60. Now that will bring, a flood of patients, I think, with chronic disease, for which, many of the companies, I think, represented on the panel today will have novel, transformational, innovative therapeutics that won't be little Me Too improvements. They're not going to bring small incremental changes. I think they're going to bring, profound shifts in patient outcome. We've seen that now with all sorts of different medicines. And then I think another opportunity, and you touched on it at the start, is Hong Kong. Hong Kong is this huge bidirectional facilitator, right? Great regulatory clarity, very strong IP law management, a very, very innovative Ministry of Health, as you said, under Professor Loh, and the second largest fundraising center in biotechnology in the world. So it allows companies like us to, we're clearly in mainland China, but to kind of navigate this emerging science world that, as Teresa said, is blossoming here in China, in the mainland. And also, I think, is then a gateway for some of that innovation technology to flow back into companies like us in a structured way. So I think those are just some huge opportunities that we see developing in 26.
Right. Yeah, that's great. It's excited to see both Merck and Amgen are embarking on a very important AI journey, and with your example of hiring a consumer product AI specialists to really strengthen your team in this area is really interesting, and that brings me back also to the point that you mentioned about Hong Kong. And as we, discussed earlier with the Secretary for Health in Hong Kong, he made it very clear that, Hong Kong actually has an advantage of the real-world data.
Yes.
We have 11 million patients' records, structured data readily available, for clinical trials and so on. So this is another very important thing that we have. We believe, Hong Kong has strong, a basis for further developing to facilitate, development and entries into mainland market, and also for mainland companies to use Hong Kong as the base to go global.
Yeah, and I think if you and coupled with world-class clinical medicine and translational science,
right?
When you couple that with the database that's available, so, I think that's a remarkable opportunity.
Right. So if I'm good, may I turn, sort of the focus a little bit to the investment in biomedicine. Now, Jiangsu Hengrui, Sinopharma, Exelpie are all listed in Hong Kong. So how do you see, global and local investment trends evolving in 2026? And how are your company positioning yourself to navigate this shifting, biopharma landscape? Yeah, please, yeah.
好，谢谢主持人的提问。那么，我认为呢，从全球来看啊，那么有2个特点。第一个就是更聚焦关键技术，尤其是突破性技术叠加有效解决临床的痛点，再叠加有广阔的市场空间。第二个就是会注重创新应用的生态，尤其是良好的商业环境和有效的市场激励。那么从中国的角度来看，我认为中国正在进入一个有史以来生物医药创新的最好时期。一个是有政策的前链条的支持，第二个呢，资本市场进一步回暖，而且对生物医药发展呢有更理性的判断，这个非常重要。第三个是经历这么多年的发展，中国生物医药产业已经发展成为仅次于美国的全球第2方阵，所以我认为中国正在形成一个多方共赢的局面，从政策赋能到这个资本愿意投资，再到产业的进步，最后到创新技术快速有效应用惠及患者，形成这么一些多方共赢的局面。那么从恒瑞的角度来讲，我们应该牢牢抓住这个历史性的机遇，对吧？我们如何一个是要坚持自主创新为主，同时呢，我们也要加大对外开放，加大对外合作。那么这个一个方面，我们要源不断的加大这个研发的投入，来不断的实现技术的突破。第二个呢，也要稳步推进国际化的战略。那同时呢，我们也利用去年我们5月份在香港上市这么个机会啊，我们如何来利用好香港的平台和资源优势？我们一个是到香港来申请新药的注册，包括销售，同时呢，我们也立足于香港来辐射东南亚甚至更广阔的国际市场。我想我们一定能够为香港的发展贡献一份力量。好，谢谢。
好，谢谢。Teresa, do you have anything to add? Yeah.
Yes, so our company is called Sino Biopharm because Sino Farm is actually SOE, and then we are like a family business.
Right.
So I think the global trend now is definitely shifting into deep tech, right? For example, like AI, robotics, life science, new energy, new resources like deep space, deep earth, deep sea. But in terms of life science, I think now cross industry, like for example, like AI plus life science, AI plus robotics plus life science, like new modalities like that are very hot as well. For example, like surgical robots, like BCI, like organoids, like cyber organs, stuff like that. These are all like very, very interesting trends of like investment in general. And specifically in bioscience, I think definitely moving more into immunology, like metabolic, especially the weight loss area, and CNS, aging is definitely like a very common topic nowadays. And also into like new therapeutic, new technology platforms that are targeting these areas, like sRNA, right, PROTAC, like gene editing and cell therapy, as mentioned before. So I think as Sino Biopharm, now the whole innovation landscape is changing so fast. So what we're doing is we're positioning ourselves to be the partner to go to in China, like both for local companies and global companies as well. And our strategy is just to fully leverage the booming innovation in China and make it a part of Sino Biopharm's strength. For example, in the past 6 months, we actually did 2 big acquisitions in the pharma space. So last year, we acquired Lenovo, which is also a partner with Merck, for the PD-1 VEGF asset. And then they also have a next generation microtumor platform that's very interesting. And then just, I think a couple of weeks ago, we also acquired another company called Hygea, which is a very differentiated sRNA platform. And we have the world's first like clinically validated data for a yearly dosing for LPA, which is a target for lowering cholesterol. So these are all like very interesting partnerships that we're doing, and we're partnering with over 30 top biotechs in China. So this is really our strength to leverage the innovation in China, and we hope to bring this, bring all our partners and ourselves globally as well.
Right.
Thank you.
So there's really a very conducive environment with this in China with this central, strategy, and maybe Dr. Ma, you can also elaborate on that. Yeah.
Yes. So let me answer the question from Crystal Pi's vertical field. This AI plus robotics. So actually, I just came back from JP Morgan conference. And I remember only a few days before the conference, Eli Lilly and NVIDIA announced a $1 billion collaboration on AI in the next 5 years. Actually, Eli Lilly is also a partner and the clients of XTOPI. So I mean, in the past decade, we talk about AI many times, and we found that AI win again and again in digital world, but where we, have many stocks in the real world, in the application in life science. So everybody know the bottleneck is the high quality data. So so if you want to invest artificial intelligence in life science, invest what, right? Invest algorithm development, or invest on the computing power, or invest on the infrastructure of the data generation. So everybody know that in every in labs, so it's very human-centric. So we do experiments by human beings and collect the data every day. But if you have look at the data, for example, the public data from literatures, patents, most of the data are positive. But behind the successful story of the publication, you will have maybe 100, even 1,000 failed trials. So where are those data? And on the other hand, so in many cases we have the final results data, but lack of the process data. So that is all the the bottlenecks in develop AI algorithm in any vertical field, in any industries. So that is why 5 years ago, XTOPI, we realized this is a very serious challenge in AI applications. So we started to build our own robotic labs. So we develop and even we make the robots in our lab to work with our scientists together to do experiments like the chemical synthesis, biology test, And it's not old-fashioned automation. Actually, it is evolving to an autonomous paradigm. So let's imagine a new collaboration model. So, I mean, maybe this year, actually in Extopi, it has arrived now. So scientists come up with new ideas and then iterate strategy with AI. And then AI and agent can generate code to simulate the dynamics of molecules or generate the small molecule. And the agent can call the robots to do the experiments, and then collect data and feedback to the algorithm, iterate again and again. I think this is the new paradigm for AI in life science, in drug discovery. It's happening now.
Right.
You know, in the last two years, not only in China, but also in Europe, in United States, many companies small companies focus on many different types of automation and robotics in lab, in biology, in chemistry. I mean, it will emerge some new technologies.
All right. Yeah, interesting. You know, robotics. Yeah, this is something that Dr. Ma repeatedly, you know, mentioned, and from earlier comments by Teresa, she mentioned about, you know, the acquisitions, the two acquisitions that you made. You know, this leads me to think about, you know, I understand that the pharmaceutical sort of industry is now facing one of the largest, you know, patent cliff, since 2010. And in recent conference in November, Jeffrey Global Healthcare Conference in London, it was mentioned that it seems that the year 2026 will have some improvements, and they're seeing more M&A, you know, acquisitions activities coming on. Well, Dr. Sahi, maybe, what was your, you know, view, you know, on this, and any target you have, you know, in coming acquisitions or potential areas of interest? Yeah.
Well, Peter, we've actually seen over the past several months, there's been a spur of activity.
Oh.
If you look at it, you know, at least from a global standpoint, a lot more announcements in terms of potential acquisitions that have been made, especially on the big pharma side, consolidation on the biotech side. I think from our vantage point as a pharma services player that actually operates at a global scale, we've actually ourselves just completed an acquisition within Clinigen at the tail end of 2025, buying out a business that sits in New Jersey that gives us a window into over 250 biotechs that we work with. And we can see that there's a lot more impetus of early stage development that's happening, and I think builds on what Teresa was saying, particularly here in China, to actually bring net export of innovation. And it's a platform like Clinigen that actually enables for some of this innovation to come out of China and take it to whether it's Europe or the US. And more importantly, we are seeing a actual export coming out to go towards even places like Australia, where you're seeing a lot more phase 1 clinical trial programs that we can support. And that's kind of one of the key anchors of our business model. And we're actually seeing it that not only from a geographical standpoint, but also from a therapeutic area standpoint. It's building on, like I'd mentioned earlier when I kicked off, it's around specificity around oncology, right? And we'll talk a little more about, you know, what's the role of AI in that, but it's becoming like a laser-guided bomb, effectively, that you can zero in into specific subpopulations. You've got biomarkers that actually can be tracked specifically to it. In some cases, you're already doing predictive diagnostics before you start treating people. So there's going to be very much a targeted, specialized medicine regime that you're going to start seeing as it continues to evolve. And I think acquisitions will continue to be funded in that particular direction. And I think it's just the start. And I think 2026 is going to be a strong impetus in that direction.
Right, good. And Mark, do you also have something to share on that? Yeah?
Yeah, certainly it's not only about acquisitions. I mean, we did last year an acquisition on a company called SpringWorks in rare disease. But I'm coming back to the collaboration models. I think it's really about having more strategic corporations.
Yes.
It's not only doing an M&A. And So if I stay again on China and the ecosystem here, right? I mean, I'm sitting here next to Hengrui, and we're looking at some collaborations in that space. When you look at DNA responses, you're looking at ADCs, we're looking at infertility reproduction. But for example, we also have another company called Abisco, where we did for the first time China for Global rare disease in TGCT. So that's an area from a healthcare perspective. But now, maybe not everyone knows that Merck is also doing life science. So we are actually the supplier to a lot of biopharma companies. Right? Actually in China, 2,000 customers for 300,000 products. So coming back to the whole, what Dr. Ma said, not only AI data, but also operations efficiency, right? Reproducibility, right? So how do you bring into lab workflow automation robotics? How do you combine wet, dry labs with data, right? Requires actually a lot of collaborations globally. So for example, we have one called with a US China-based company called Optrons to really look into lab workflows. So what I'm saying here is the complexity we have in bioconvergence is such that you need to put a lot of bets. And it's not only buying one capability yourself, but it's really building your network. And then I think that's key now to not only look at the specificities of one country, but coming back to your point on Chinese companies going global, you need to be part of a value chain, you need to be part of the standards they are setting, so that you can then serve also not only the Chinese customer, but ultimately with the Chinese product, let's say, somewhat in Europe or US on the patient side as well. So that requires a lot of collaborations.
Thank you. Yeah, this is, I think, a very good point related to potential, Chinese companies using Hong Kong to go global and looking for, collaboration partners and potential, more equity partnership opportunities. Yeah. So now. We only have about 13 minutes left, so I want to really use the rest of the time to talk more about the AI area, which a lot of you brought up, and I'm sure the audience will be very interested in. Yeah, and I understand. Maybe let's start with Teresa. I understand Sinopharm started off strong, and this 2026 is really Sinopharm's new 10-year plan period. Yeah. How do you see AI's role in your coming 10-year plan? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So for us, AI is not only an external tool now, like we built it in our whole R&D system. For example, we established like AI small molecule. So we also, our lead candidate is a TYK2 inhibitor entering into phase 3. So it's definitely like a China first. So it's very fast. It definitely speeds up the whole clinical process. And our AT2R antagonist, which is also in phase 2, and I think it's the fastest global also. And beyond individual programs, we also have built like an AI-driven protein degrader platform. And one of our very exciting assets, STAT6, which is also a very hot target now globally. But apart from all of this, I really think the real excitement in AI is what was mentioned earlier. So now the diffusion models are very promising in molecular design, and there's a lot of different, early on, strong results in, for example, de novo antibodies, like zero-shot peptide and small molecule designs. So I really think what we can see in 2026 is AI not only, lowering costs, increasing efficiency, increasing clinical speed, and increasing the success rate of new drugs, but really to design hard targets that we think were not druggable before. So I think when AI moves to this stage, becoming a core innovator of what was used to think as impossible targets, and I think this is where AI will really have return, huge return. And I think this is a huge excitement for everyone in the healthcare market.
Right. Thank you. Maybe Dr. Sethi, you have anything to add to that? AI.
No, I think I'll bid on something that obviously what Teresa has said and earlier Mark had mentioned. I think we're not very far away from potentially taking a molecule that's come out of, say, early stage discovery all the way through the clinical process. So listening to Teresa, where Sino Biopharm's got a couple of products that are already in late phase 2 or into getting close to get into phase 3. I think it'll be the proof case, which always comes down to the return of the investment, right? I mean, is there clearly a leverage and a trade-off? We believe there is, but I think the first molecule that actually can go from end to end will enable, the validation of the true value of AI that actually comes in. There is a lot of speculation that it can bring in along the value chain, clearly between 10 to 15, maybe even 30% more cost efficiency. It actually helps in higher throughput. It actually helps in higher yield. There's a lot of let's put it this way, posturing around what AI can do. I think it'll be important as organizations take products through the development cycle, and we see that with our partners as well, that will then enable the test case to be ratified and validated, and then it becomes basically a platform for the others to follow.
Right, yeah. And Dr. Ma, you have recently shared, drugs discovery, in the JP Morgan healthcare conference, right? So can you also, share with us some of these AI sort of driven, drug discovery? Yeah.
Yes, I think I can also answer this question from the business model for XTOPI actually.
Yes.
So because we provide, like service, collaboration, many very flexible business model with our partners. So now currently, after the 10-year growth of XTOPI's capability, so we address two very challenging parts. We focus on two business. The first one is using AI to solve the very challenging targets, previously even undruggable drug. So for example, in small molecule, we focus on the molecular glue is protein-protein interaction modulated by small molecule. It's a very hard problem, very challenging problem for traditional medicinal chemists. So this is the drug discovery. So for both small molecule and also biologics, antibody, and even siRNA. So this is the AI drug discovery business. And the second one, is to provide the tools to our partners. That is the automation robotics platform, the total solution combined with hardware and software together to enabling our partner or customer to have their own data infrastructure for their AI model. So that is our tool. So the technology iterate very fast recently. So maybe in the next few years, the business will also evolve according to how mature the technology will become.
Right, yeah. And Mark, you have anything to add on that? Yeah.
Look, as much as, of course, discovery is always exciting to talk about, if you look day to day, it's hard work from each person in the lab, in the R&D space, right? And he has to do his day-to-day operation, to do it efficient, he has to reproducibility, right? And he has to track and trace it from a GMP perspective. So anything you can do also in this space with AI, right? We talked about lab flow, right? How you connect that to your data digital, how robotics can help you to replicate and do the same tests once again. In our case, for example, with life science, 300,000 products, like in e-commerce for any R&D researcher, the challenge or the opportunity is actually, help researcher to say, this has been already tried out by someone, it doesn't work. You don't need to try the same bill of material again, it doesn't work. Or you need to change your bill of material and do it that way, right, by using certain tools and measures. So I think there's a lot in that space we can see. But it's also, going further, we're always discussing discovery, but ultimately you need to look at the whole process, right? Not only the clinical studies, but also the manufacturing, where you can actually now also save more cost by really having reproducibility, visual inspection, right, that the drug you're producing is fine. You go through filtration of bacteria, right, to clean things. So you can save a lot of cost in that to be quality right from the start. So all in all, end to end, there's a quite significant opportunity in really, using AI in various shape or form. However, and I think that's where, beside all the excitement, we need to caution, we are in a GMP environment. right? So we need to understand the black box, right? What comes out of that? We need to be able to validate this, right? And to really reproduce it again. So that's something with all the excitement. At the end of the day, we're dealing here with human being as patient, right? So safety,
yes, of course, yeah.
still very important. So having the right balance when internally, as a company, also thinking about ethical AI and how you deal with responsible AI, upskilling the organization, but also to deal with failures in that space is of utmost importance.
Right, thank you. Yeah, and actually, bringing this AI topic back, something that's happening also in Hong Kong is that, our third, we have just announced, the third medical school is going to be established in Hong Kong by the University of Science and Technology. And they will be very much research focused and with a strong AI technology driving that to happen too. And I would really like to see them actually as a facilities that you may also think of working with, so that we can then help Hong Kong to further excel in this area. Yeah. Now, we have about 5 minutes left. Yeah, so if I may, use the rest of this time to start sort of a closing. If there is one, action for each of you, to take in this coming year, what would that one thing, be? And let's try to finish that in 1 minute. Yeah. May I start with Paul? Yeah.
Thanks, Peter. Look, I think for us, it's to radically redesign how we bring drugs to patients. Okay. We've been doing drug development the same way for the last 70 years. So how do you identify patients in a new way? You talked about the CEDARS platform. How do you find patients very precisely, bring them into clinical trials, the right patient using precision medicine? How do you use AI to really expedite regulatory submissions? And in the United States today, for example, only 12% of people have health literacy sufficient to allow them to navigate the healthcare system. There must be a way to bring AI to bear on that so that they can navigate their disease journey, get to the right therapy as quickly as possible, and get a great outcome. So for us at Amgen, that's what we focus on.
The whole process more effective,
and seamless, and save more lives.
Yes, yeah. And Mr. Dai, yeah.
我想在新的一年里，我们肯定是要通过源源不断的创新，去实现技术的突破，找到更多的有这种突破性的一些疗法。同时呢，我们也借这个机会呼吁大家能够携手起来，共同营造一个更加创新、更加可及，而且更加持续的创新生态。那么为人类的美好健康生活共同努力。好，谢谢。
哦，谢谢。好 ，Mark。
Yeah, coming back here to the audience, right? And also what we can hear together with the audience take. We heard now a lot about the end-to-end journey and what Hong Kong and GBA can offer in that space, right? So you have world-class research here. You have exciting biotech ecosystem. You have China market access. You have a financial market here. Look around you here in the audience. Look at the panel. We're talking about collaboration. So my urge to you is use the next 30 minutes after the coffee break and mingle and get to know each other.
Good. We'll do that, yeah. And Dr. Ma, yeah.
So, I mean, for the application of new technology, the biggest barrier is usually is not the technical hurdles, it's the mindset, I mean, for every people. So if you really want to learn artificial intelligence, don't you read books or papers, just practice. I think practice is the best way to grab any AI application you can and try to use like a cursor to generate a code, to generate a website, and then you know how it can do in your daily job. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Yeah, Dr. Sahi?
Well, I'll actually build on something that Mark mentioned, right? I mean, it's clearly to use the power of the collaboration, joining the network to ensure that we can take a product or a molecule that's been discovered the fastest to, through the clinical process to the patient. I think that's going to be the most important aspect for us. And for us as a services business, we actually also enable, in many cases, products that haven't gone through the full registration cycle to also get through an early access methodology to the patient. And I think pulling that back towards where we are right now from a Hong Kong and even a mainland China perspective, this provides a very good platform with the speed at which the Hong Kong government wants to start supporting the registration process. That will allow for products to be brought in, innovation to be brought in from, whether it's from the mainland or even from other markets, and then using Hong Kong as a leapfrog platform to get into populations of patients that need these medications into mainland. So that's kind of the impetus for 26. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are the platform. Yeah. So Teresa.
Yeah, so I echo what Paul said earlier. So we really have to keep up and keep learning AI and adopt AI into like day-to-day operation from end to end, and really prepare the whole company as much as possible when globally enters into the AI digital era. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much for the very insightful sharing. We are just 2 seconds, from the finish time. We're right on the dot. So thank you so much. Let's give the elite panelists a big hand.
And thank you very much to Peter Yan for leading that discussion. Could I ask all the panelists and moderator to come to the front of the stage for a group photo, please? Yes, just come up to the front and gather together for our photographers. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you again. Can we have another round of applause for our panel? So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another session coming up very soon, part of the Global Business Summit, and it's a session on AI infrastructure, powering the intelligent supply chain. So do stand by. We'll begin that session in just a few minutes.